Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Finsweet Live Community Day. Today, we are here with Ben Issen. And Ben, I
Yes.
realized that I didn't even get to check the pronunciation of your last name. I'm just calling you Ben. So is it
Yeah.
Issen?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben Issen is the founder of Supercreative. Ben is Supercreative is a product studio based in Paris where they create tools for creative freelancers. Ben's tools are used by 20,000 freelancers, and he is currently designing a new tool to help freelancers know how much they should charge their clients. This is called Instaprice, and we will look at this. When Ben is not working, he likes to go sailing. Awesome. Ben, welcome to FinSuite Live. How are you?
Thank you. All good. Yeah, super. Actually, we're just talking about this, but today's a bit of a sad day. Figma is selling to Adobe, and I don't know if it's such a good day. I don't know. How do you feel about
Yeah.
this?
Well, I was certainly surprised about the news, but I'll have to say let's try to bring some brightness into today with this community day because that we don't know exactly what that means for us. Anytime a big company acquires one of our loving
Right.
product applications, you never know.
Yeah,
So,
true.
yeah, how do you feel about it?
True. I mean, Figma is definitely a tool I love, and I hope it just goes in the same like upward direction. That's my only hope.
Yes. Of course. Okay. Before we get too far into the show content, we're going to say hi to everybody who got here nice and early. First, we will bring up Robert. Hello, Magdalena. How you doing?
Hello.
Mika Dixon, welcome for the first 30. We'll make sure we pack that 30 in with great info. Penny, hello. Really interested to learn more about Ben today. You know what? Me too, Penny. Sean Duval, what's up? Sean, we appreciate you. Had a great time at State of Flow meeting the Finsweet team. You are awesome. Right back at you, Sean. Thank you so much for being here. Dale Jensen, what's up? We have Javi, we have Kevin Watkins, and now we are ready to get this party started.
Let's
Okay.
go.
So, Ben, as we start every episode out, tell us about your story. How did you get here? And this is all about whenever you thought about first starting your professional career until
Yeah.
today. Give us that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Um, I guess I usually start like my story with the same thing, kind of like my family, where I'm from, like how did I get here? Basically, my dad is an entrepreneur and my mom is a freelance designer. So I kind of grew up in a household where we were pushed to do creative things and be entrepreneurial, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. My family is French. I was born in the U.S., so I'm French American, and basically I went to a business school, didn't like it much, and I thought, well, I'm just about to start my career. What's the best way to learn? It's probably to start a company and do what I really want to do. And I knew the design space a bit from my mom, from my own experience freelancing when I was in high school, and so I just started with this thing called Supercreative, and it was a name actually to describe my mom. The first version of Supercreative was trying to like match great designers with great clients, because that was one of the frustrations with my mom. She did great work, but she couldn't find clients like top clients. And so the Supercreative kind of iterated version by version, and for the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years, we've we've been building tools to help creative freelancers, and with some of our tools being kind of successful, the others not at all. But it's fine. We're having a lot of fun now, just creating these tools and putting them out on the internet. Um, and yeah, and maybe something I didn't mention, but I think kind of like shaped my thinking and gave me a lot of confidence when I started uh, Supercreative was being an intern at Webflow, which is relevant to Finsweet. Um, I was 18. I was first year of university. I knew I was interested in tech, design, startups. So I thought I'm gonna go to the mecca of startups to Silicon Valley. And at the time, 2015, 2016, I had just discovered Webflow. I really loved it right from the start. I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply to this company, and actually, I do have that. I still have the website. I built. It's on my screen. I built this landing page on Webflow. At the time, they had just launched the background video component, and so I used it. Um, and I explained on this landing page basically why I wanted to work for them. Um, and so that's the only picture I had of the Webflow team at the time. Some of the websites that I had built with Webflow, and then I sent that website to Vlad, to basically anyone that I could find on Twitter with the Webflow. And then the next day, Vlad sent me a private message on Twitter saying, I think we should chat. And I replied, yes, we should chat. I love that. And then we went on a call. He sent me, what, so like, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't really know. I just like want to work for you guys. And he told me, oh, we need help with the e-commerce features that we'll be releasing next year. So if you want to be a UX researcher for that, we'll teach you like some of the basic UX. And so I flew to San Francisco like a couple of months later for 3 months, and my boss was Sergey, so Vlad's brother. And for almost 3 months, I was just in this awesome team, learning about design, feeling it was so exciting, and I really saw what a good company felt because the team is so they're so nice and they're very talented. And so I think since I didn't really work in any other company, I think this is sort of the model that I have for what kind of company I want to build as well, in a way.
Wow. That is such a fun fact. I mean,
Mm.
especially in this community, in this ecosystem, Webflow's first intern.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
put that
kind
in
of
my
a
LinkedIn
well,
bio.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow, that's so cool. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then I want to ask about your mom.
yeah.
So you said it was the company that you kind of modeled what you want to build, right? Webflow was
Mm,
such a great experience as an intern. This is your mental picture of what a good company is.
yeah.
And you never worked for a company after that. That was your last working
I
for a
actually I
company?
actually did another uh, I was an intern for a startup in Paris as a product manager for a couple of months, but it wasn't for a design tool. I was less connected with the industry, so
Yeah.
it wasn't as such of a big experience. But yeah, it had a lot of influence, especially when you're like 18, 19. It's like the start of your career, and you everything sink like you're soaking everything. It was it had a profound influence, I think, on me. Yeah.
Very cool. That's really great. I I appreciate that fact. Webflow's first intern. Love it. Okay, now you said your mom is a freelance designer. Was she a freelance designer years ago, or is she just a freelance designer today?
No, she started, I think, now 15 years ago. She
Wow.
had a big transition. She was doing something else before, and then she thought, well, I want to do the job that I've always dreamt about. Uh, she had an eye for like nice things, and she started graphic design in a school, and so she downloaded the Adobe suite actually, and it was on the family Mac iMac, and so I think I felt her excitement of getting this new, like starting this new career when I was 12, 13. And then I also had access to the family iMac. And so I started like playing around with Illustrator, then After Effects, and I guess all the other Adobe tools. And basically I learned while she was learning as well. And yeah, so that's
Wow.
how, yeah, that's when she started.
That's so cool. Freelance, I think, is such a modern mindset. It's a modern strategy for work.
Hmm.
Anytime I hear someone that has been freelancing for 10 years or freelancing for 15 years, this always kind of catches my eye because it tells me that
Mm.
this person was almost living in the future, right? Living in the future of work, like being able to pick your position and pick what you want to do. And
Mm,
that's so cool that you got to learn as she was learning. I mean, this is 15 years ago. Now we're talking about the the pioneer stage of design. This is
mm.
when kind of design really first started on a computer. So that's a really nice background. I love that story. Anything you want to add to the story before we move on to looking at some of your work?
No, I think I gave a good little
Yeah,
overview.
definitely. Great. Everybody in the crowd, if you have a question for Ben, please ask. We
Yeah,
may ask in the middle of the show, it may be towards the end, but please ask. Let's make this interactive. Okay, let's now go to show two pieces of work that you're most interested in.
perfect.
We'll be
Yep,
looking at these on screen share. And
yep,
Ben, I'll leave it up to you.
awesome. So I will show two things. The first thing is, I guess, super creative. Uh, Super creative. So it's the company that I've been working on for the last almost 3 years. Um, and as you can see from the tagline here, uh, hopefully all my tools help freelancers, even entrepreneurs, people who don't consider themselves necessarily as freelancers or solopreneurs or entrepreneurs, but to grow their creative business. And so I tried a lot of different models, trying courses online, um, trying some freelancing as well. And what I found out was that teaming up with talented developers, people all over the world to create these tools was what I was most excited about. And so I created, for example, the Notion pack as part of Supercreative, which is basically all the freelance uh, documents you'd need as Notion templates. Uh, I started this 2 years ago when there weren't a lot of paid Notion templates, and that kind of like started a whole movement in a way that was very a very interesting experience. I did a tiny Webflow course, and then I wrote a lot of articles and made YouTube videos with Supercreative in order to attract people to the tools. So anytime that I'd share, like write an article or make a video, it would be free, but I would hope that it would redirect some of that the people to the paid tools. So that's super creative. The other thing that I've been working on for the last almost 3 months with my friend Mattia is this tool called Instaprice, which is part of the super creative ecosystem. And what we've built is a pricing calculator for freelance projects. So this is what it looks like. It's basically a database of thousands of pre-scoped services that freelancers usually charge on the left, and then you can add them to your code on the right, and you can see an estimation of how much you should charge. I might give you a demo here. This is live, so when you pay to get access to the tool. You add a couple of things to your quote. You can change like the currency, your location. So I'm in France. I pay like I charge in euros, so in euros here, and then you can fine tune these estimations based on like the unique um, aspects of the project you're working on. And so that's yeah, 3 months of full time work. We're launching next week, so this is actually a kind of a preview for the public version coming out soon. And then we'll probably move on to a new tool to help freelancers. But yeah, that's a sort of taste for the kind of tools that I'm building, and yeah.
Awesome. This calculator is so cool. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Uh, pl- Please, anybody in the audience that has questions about that tool, the calculator we just saw, go ahead, ask them, and
Yeah.
we will definitely get those answered. So, one of the things that really stood out to me in that presentation was the descriptions along with the services, and
Hmm.
that you would be able to send this to your client, right, or a
Hmm.
lead, and they'd be
Yeah.
able to see these descriptions of what they're being charged for.
Yeah. That's exactly
Great.
right. Yeah. The idea
That's
is
great.
to, yeah, just instead of just saying, "Hey, I will develop 3 logos," it's like what's behind the 3 logos, and the
Right.
more information you can give, then the more convincing you can be with a client, and the odds that they will accept your project over someone else's are higher. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's bring this up from Mika. I'm going to agree with this. I found something like this the other day, but it was missing a lot of deep details. This is much better. I
Cool.
agree. I'm going to say that there's just a lot more valuable information packed into this tool than your standard, filling in some inputs and calculating the
Yeah.
response.
Mika, I would love to know what the other tool was. And you pointed out, Joe, a fact that like that was kind of challenging. It was challenging to put so much info on one interface, uh, and so it was a lot of iterations towards the beginning to design an interface which was not overwhelming. And I can give you a simple example. Right now, when you open the calculator, you have 4 or 5 services to the left. But at first, we had about 12 displayed at once. They were smaller. And it was a bit overwhelming. So we decided to space out everything, and so that we could like the user could digest the information more. And we had to make all these small design decisions to like add a bit more data, but at the same time make sure that the information hierarchy was clear. Otherwise it was overwhelming. It was a good design challenge for sure.
Nice. I could that sounds right because it looks neat, as in organized, right? And that's always
Yeah.
difficult when you have a lot of information.
Yeah.
Let's bring up two specific questions.
Okay.
Penny, can the
Yes.
text in the calculator be personalized to the freelancer?
Yes, absolutely. Everything can be
Nice.
personalized, your own like prices, text, everything. Yeah.
Nice. And last question on this from Jay Poucher. Where is the calculator getting the average pricing from?
That's a great question. So we started out with like public information that we found online on different like US based platforms, and then we started adding our own scopes and own services to it, and then we asked some friends, and now um, like the first users of the tool basically make the database better by adding their own services. So now it's more like crowdsourced.
Awesome. Love that. Okay. Let's do one more. This is a good one from Abby. How were complexity, deadline, etc. determined?
Yeah, we're there's still things that we're like improving with time. So, for example, if a deadline is ASAP, as soon as possible, we increase the total price to 15%, around 15%. And if there's no clear deadline, we decrease by 15%. And basically, we've asked a lot of freelancers how if that was accurate, and um, and hopefully now as we get more users, we'll be able to like use more data to know if those variables are better or worse. But at the beginning, it was basically just our intuition, then getting like qualitative feedback, and now hopefully we're gonna get quantitative feedback.
Nice. Great process. I'm excited for that tool.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
please go follow Ben on Twitter to make sure that you get updates about that. Because you're going to be doing some launches soon, going on product hunt. So we want to make sure that we capture people who are listening that you like Ben. Make sure you follow that.
Thank you, Joe, for the plug. Yeah.
And we'll just bring up this comment as we move on. Thank you, David Carl.
Yeah.
Design. Instagram looks
Instagram,
amazing. Your
Instaprice.
visual
Yeah.
execution. Nice.
Yeah.
Great. High attention to detail. I appreciate that too. So now let's move on to the next part of the show, and that is talking about your key strengths and qualities. So, Ben, what do you do really well? What is your key strength?
It's a tough question. I what I like to do the most, and that's a an answer that I think is correlated, but I like to answering better, um, is designing things, designing products, designing interfaces. When you design something, you have to think about what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to think about intentions are if you have clear intentions, then design is very fun. And so it's like knowing exactly what you want to do is a thinking process that I love to go through. Um, and, and basically, yeah, the for me, designing new things is a good balance between the theory and trying to come up with something innovative and then actually going into the design tool, the Figma, the framer, the Webflow, and building it out. And like it's the craft of something that I really enjoy as well. So it's a great balance of the two. So that's what I enjoy doing the most. And that's what I've been doing since I was 16, like for like the last 10 years. So I think now I kind of have an edge because I've been doing it for 10 years every day. um, but I mean, there's still so many things that in design that I want to get better on. Because right now, I mean, I think I've sort of I use the tools, the basic tools of layouts, typography, colors, symmetry, all of these for websites fairly well. But then a designer can have so many other tools in his toolkit to design an experience that's good. Sound is something that I don't really use. Motion, I try to use more and more, but I still haven't mastered that tool in the designer's toolkit. Um, and then materials, shapes, like all of these. When you go outside the screen, when you're not sucked into the internet, but you design for the real world, I have very little, if no experience at all, and I just want to get better on these aspects as well. Um, so that's yeah, that's one thing. And then the other thing is I love videos. I love telling a fun, weird story over YouTube. I love just writing something and making a story around it. That's something I appreciate doing a lot. Yeah.
Nice. So I guess that's why is that one of the reasons why you continue to make new tools, new micro tools instead of
Yeah.
maybe continuing to build on the same tool? Because you said that you're so excited about designing new things and starting new things and creating
Mm,
videos, right? So
yeah.
earlier in the episode, you said that you're going to finish the pricing calculator, make some updates based on usage, and then go and create another tool for freelancers. Do these two things play together?
Yeah, I know from like knowing myself that I love starting things, um, uh, and I enjoy the process of growing or scaling a bit less, even though I'm getting more and more interested in that aspect as well. I'm not a scaler as much as I am like a starter, and so right now I really want to. Um, Reach out to people, and that's what I'm doing, like just reaching out to a lot of people online, to friends who are more excited about the scaling part and growing things afterward and collaborating together. um, I think, yeah, the moment you start collaborating with other people, you can like play on everybody's strength. So that's what I want to do in the future. Yeah.
And you're good at collaborating with people. Is that also one of your strengths? Like being able to work together with others, or do you like more of the solo work?
It's so hard. Collaborating is so hard.
It
I
is.
love when a good collaboration happens, but it's so hard. Um, the communication, being patient, like truly listening to someone, to understand what they need, to go to like to define exactly who does what. It's it's hard work, but it is like there are qualities that I think are necessary to build really good things. Like I was really into the solopreneur single player on in a single player mode for years, and it's only in the last year that I've realized how worthwhile it is to spend time on collaborating with other people that you appreciate, that you admire, um, and work on those skills. So yeah, I don't think I'll be coming back anytime soon into like just the solopreneur aspect.
Nice. It's a skill. Working with other people, communicating with other people, it's a
You
skill.
know
It's a
that
big one.
very well.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And as the team gets bigger, you have to be better and better at that
Yeah.
communication skill.
How big is Finsweet now?
We are 43 people at the
43.
time of
Yeah.
this recording. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a
It's a lot.
lot. And, you know, it was a process
Yeah.
starting with one other person, then two
Yeah.
other people, then five other people. And you really have to iterate how you talk and communicate and work as a team when you grow at any
Yeah.
size. Even
Yeah.
if you're going from two to three, you have to change the way that you do things.
Kind of each time. How long did you
Yeah.
stay by yourself on Finsweet until you recruited someone else?
I think it was about 1.5 years,
Okay.
in between 1 and 2 somewhere,
Yeah.
and really I added someone to the team because I needed their expertise. Design. I'm not a designer, so I needed some design expertise. I'm not a
Mm.
JavaScript developer, so I needed some JavaScript expertise. So, yeah, it was need base, right? And
Yeah.
if you're a solo entrepreneur and you can do a little bit of everything and you like doing a little bit of everything, maybe there's no need to grow the team.
Sure.
But if you're working as a solo entrepreneur and you say, "Well, I don't really like to do this," or "I'm not really good at this and I don't want to do it,"
Mm.
then maybe that's kind of the sign of, hey, maybe it's time to grow the team.
Mm.
Can we bring up a question here from Victoria? Ben, when you have many ideas to design, how do you focus on one? How do you decide which way to go?
I love this question because I have uh, a pre-packaged answer, but it is the honest truth. Um, First, I do an internal check-in, and I ask myself, would I use this myself? Like, am I bullshitting myself, or is this really something that I'd use? Maybe not every day, but every couple of. So that's one thing. Like, good filter. Is this something that I'm actually going to use in the long term? The second thing is I actually talk first with my mom because she has a high BS filter as well, and she can tell me, no, I don't need that. Why do you like? No, it's not a thing. And so actually, most of my ideas kind of like die with my mom. I don't know if you've read the book The Mom Test by Rob Fitzpatrick. Yeah, it's a really good book that basically pushes you to like get feedback from people you don't know, so like not your mom, and like not ask hypothetical questions, like hey, would you use this? So I'm basically doing exactly the opposite as this book. I'm doing the anti-mom test and asking my mom hypothetical questions, but she has a high like tolerance for no a low tolerance for BS. Um, and then so then I have like I think I have about 20 ideas that my think my maybe even less 10 ideas that my mom actually would want to use. Um, and then I do prototypes, and usually in Figma or like Whimsical. And then I start telling a story. Like I write a story, and I start pitching everyone around me. Hey, I have something. Like, do you want to try it? Even though I haven't built it, and I pitch the story again, and again. I like iterate over the pitch, um, and then I build an MVP, and then the MVP I sell or I pre-sell the MVP, and then when the product like the MVP is has made some pre-sales, then I start like really refining the vision for the tool, and I look for collaborators, and I start to see how this can fit the overall super creative ecosystem. Um, so as you can imagine, it's sort of like a funnel. Um, and most ideas, like I have a Notion database with hundreds and hundreds of ideas, and I have maybe 20 MVPs, and actually just five have like potential. So it's brutal. It's brutal, but it's part of the job.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good process. You know, really having a selection of things to choose from. I love the mom filter comment. This is it just makes a lot of sense. I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
Uh, and let's see. I'll bring this comment up from Brianna. I found that I love to work with a group lately. I've always been solo, but I love being surrounded by creatives. So this is nice. Even if you're not working with somebody else, you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people, almost like
Yeah.
your mom, right? What your
Yeah.
mom does
Yeah.
in just being next to a creative. It's great.
And creatives, we have this sort of uh, almost this myth that creatives work by themselves, or maybe we can only get ideas when we're in our own little studio, but it gets lonely so fast. And it's always interesting to work with people that inspire you and everything. So, yeah, I agree with you, bro.
Absolutely. Let's bring up Emmanuel's comment. And at the same time, I will share the YouTube here in the chat. So Emmanuel says, make sure to check out Ben's YouTube channel. Earlier in the episode, this was one of your strengths, your go-tos, things you like to do. So let's show some support there. Check out these very cool and
Thank you,
creative
guys.
videos.
Yeah, disclaimer: they don't make a lot of sense, but they're fun.
That's and sometimes that's the most important. Great. Mika, thank you. Sometimes I enjoy solo, but other times I miss a team effort. Yeah, Gabe, love the mom filter, of course. Brandon Tancott, love it. Shout out to all the
Yeah.
moms.
Woo!
Hell yeah. Nice. Great. Okay. Now, let's move on to this question. Ben, what are you really efficient in? And along with this answer, I'd like you to explain how you're efficient in this. So, what are you efficient in, and how are you efficient in that thing?
Um, yeah, I mentioned kind of design work. Um, I guess just the fact that I've been designing for so long makes me know exactly what to do next. I don't have to like plan how I know exactly. I start like my design process starts with a notebook, paper. Then I don't go straight to a design tool. I go to a prototype like a wireframing tool like Whimsical, just to like lay ideas out, and then only when I have the ideas laid out, I go to something like Figma, and then only when everything's pixel perfect, I go to Webflow. So I have my process like really clear. I don't have to think about okay, what to do next. Um, so I guess yeah, just this doesn't work.
Yeah, nice. That's great. And I think a lot of people out there want to be efficient in design. Do you have any content out there for people to check out that process? Is that public in any way?
Not yet, but I think I'm
Okay.
gonna write an article or make a video because
Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting. Maybe.
nice. Great. Okay, let's move on to the advice part of the show. Now, this is where you are going to give advice to people watching you. So, for
Hmm.
anybody out there that looks at you, Ben, as a leader, what can they do to follow you? What advice can you give these people?
um, so it's hard for me there to talk about advice because I still don't have. Uh, there's the I'm sure you know Jack Conte, the CEO of Patreon, and he made this great talk recently about giving advice. And basically, the right piece of advice at the right time can like really change the trajectory. But when you're just like saying advice to pretty much anyone who watches a video, it's a bit harder. Um, so I guess the good thing to do is like just talk about what has been good to me and what I think helped. Um, well, first, like the fact that I've been very passionate about becoming a better designer, creating every day, um, thinking that uh, yeah, like existentially almost creating to me like fills fills up my existence because I feel like I'm worth something. Like I exist through my creations, so it's a bit maybe sad to be reduced by just the work that you produce, but at the same time, for me, it's a real fuel right now. Um, and if I am known, I hope it's only through my work. And I put so much love and craft into building these iconic tools that this is yeah. Um, so I guess yeah, some keywords like passion, love, really caring about something for a long time, um, creating every day, and then I guess all of that, like the conclusion of all of that is you end up making work you're proud of, and that's the best thing. Because if you're not, I mean, if I built this great like big company and I wasn't proud of it, proud of the output, then I don't think I would it would be worth it. So just be proud of what you do, I guess.
That's a really nice description, all of that. And I want to specifically bring up where you said that you're sometimes defined by your work.
Yeah,
That sometimes people look at you or you kind of associate yourself as a person based on your work. And there are some people
yeah,
out there that really like that. There are some people
yeah,
out there that don't like that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's, I don't think there's a right answer. I think it's whatever
yeah.
makes you feel good, right? Like sometimes
Right.
I do like to feel identified by my work, right? If
Yeah,
let's say I'm at a Webflow conference and somebody comes up to me, I want them to look at me and identify me as a person based on the work that I have put out. And that's because I'm proud of the work. I'm excited by the work. I truly enjoy spending most of my day on this work. And I think it does represent me.
yeah,
Now, some people think that way, and some people think that that's a really unhealthy way to think. That work
yeah.
should just be a small part of who you are, and somebody shouldn't identify you based on the work. So can you talk a little bit about that? I thought it was a really interesting comment you made.
Yeah, it is an interesting. I thought. I mean, it. Uh, it's like all my friends or my girlfriend or they don't love me or they don't like me because of my work. They don't care about my work. They care about like my character or uh, how I make them feel. I don't know, but definitely not my work. Um, so I think there's a balance for sure. Like it's a bit of a cliche to conclude with. Oh, there's a balance, of course, but it's true. Uh, if I only cared about the work, then I don't think I'd be kind of despisable, or I don't think I would enjoy life that much. um, so
I
yeah.
I think it is a balance, I agree. So maybe this balance is there needs to be some people in your life that don't care about your work, and they look at you as a person, even if it's a few, right? 2 or 3 people, that's fine. If 100% of people identify you based on your work, maybe that's where there is no balance.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
you said you had your girlfriend and your friends, same with
Or
me, my
family. Yeah. Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. Exactly.
Family, they don't even know what I do, really. They just see me
But at the
as
same time, see,
this
that's
other side.
interesting because I'm sure, Joe, you must work a ton. I mean, kind of like I think if Finsweet is big today, or you've put a lot of effort and hours, so it's a big part of your life. And at the same time, they don't really. That's not really what they care about. Yeah. So it's always, yeah, it's a big subject.
It's an interesting thought. It's a deep
Yeah.
thought. We could talk about that for hours.
Yeah.
And anybody in the audience, if you have an opinion on this, please ask, talk about it. If you want us to continue this type of conversation of how people view you through the lens of your work, through the lens of your personal life, what kind of balance you like to pick, I think it's an important topic. It almost starts to play on the mental health topic of
Mm,
work and your private life.
yeah.
Now, Ben, we're getting several comments about the Adobe Figma news. Do you want to jump
Hmm.
into that for a few minutes? Because you also brought this up
Yeah. At the
right
beginning.
before we started the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me bring up some comments here. Brandon Tancott started it off strong. What do you think about the Adobe Figma merger? And then Brandon ruined Mika's day. And then also Pierre is first time hearing about this. It's big news. So, Ben, what do you think about this?
So actually, I started like right before we started. I said, "Oh, it's kind of a sad day," and we're like, "No, it's not necessarily a bad day." So actually, if I can, Joe, maybe I'll just recount what you said, which I think is the right answer. So Adobe acquired Figma. I think the most of us here, or like everyone, pretty much likes Figma because it's a great tool. Yeah. And Adobe has also built great tools, but it might be a bit scary to think that Figma's future might not be as bright because of the merger or like the acquisition. It's more an acquisition than a merger. Um, and you said, Joe, well, it's actually like first, it's really good for them. They've worked super hard. They're getting rewarded for that work. So first, like they should be super happy and everyone should like congratulate them first. And the second thing is we don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. We should rather be hopeful and optimistic. The Behance, Adobe acquired Behance 10 years ago, and it's been a really good acquisition. Behance has kept on growing nicely, and it hasn't changed. Like the essence of uh, Behance hasn't changed that much. So I we shouldn't like just imply that everything's going to go downhill. Um, we should just see.
I agree. We don't know exactly what's going on here. I think if they change it too much, like you said, it's not going to be good. If they start integrating Figma as part of the creative suite and start packaging this product and change it to be more Adobe, I don't know if that's the right move. We
mm,
could see how much Figma has really grown based on the plugin marketplace, the ability to write your own Figma apps. It's taken the platform from just a design tool to, how do I say this? A design, like,
ecosystem maybe, or like,
ecosystem. That's the right word. That you can really do anything with an app. It's amazing. So, yeah, Adobe needs to keep that essence, just like you said. If they take away the essence, it could be really dangerous for
mm,
everybody, including
mm,
us as
yeah,
designers, right? We don't
mm,
want it to change. We love Figma.
mm.
So, yeah, we have several people here. We have Penny. Many of us left Adobe because of the cost and are concerned that we'll get sucked back into that ecosystem.
Mm,
Yes, I think Adobe did not make the right move in packaging some things and really putting some higher costs on their products. I know that the single purchase license is not really a thing anymore, and now we're into SaaS.
but it
But
should be.
it kind of became confusing, right? They added this layer of grouped account access to it, and it really scared off a lot of people.
Mm,
Let's see, Brandon Tancott, fully agree. Harold Vogel, Adobe already killed fireworks and freehand. They are doing bloated code all the time, and we have to use it as designers daily. What a pity. I fear we'll ruin at first the collab functions. Wow. So, Harold,
mm,
you have no faith here, no faith whatsoever. And that's okay. I think a lot of people are in that same thinking.
mm.
Okay. I hope they don't make it subscription plan. Yep. Yeah. Ben, the comment about Behance
Yeah,
brings me hope. Me too. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, they brought that in and it really didn't change much. I know there's a little bit of, you can use your Adobe login for that, but it's pretty much the same platform. So, yeah, nice comment. Okay, great. Now, we're not going to talk too much more about this. We're just going to quickly, you know, cover through some of these, but
yeah,
we're going to move on here. Let's now go to, yeah, actually, let's clear these. We have 12 minutes left. I really want to make sure that we hit these. Ben, challenges. Let's talk about the challenges that you and Super Creative are about to face.
yeah,
Tell me about the challenges and tell me how you plan to get through these challenges.
yeah. So my vision for Super Creative is to have awesome tools for creative freelancers, and um, I realized that if I really want to make that vision alive, I'm going to have to collaborate with others, hire, um, and so I've started playing that game of that eternal game for CEOs and founders to hire and to spot talent, and then to convince that talent to work on the ideas that you have. Um, and so that's my challenge. I mean, I've started doing this a couple of months ago, and I'm still. It feels like I'm just starting, but we're three in Super Creative, and I hope to be a bit like hopefully a 5, 10 people team, so that we can build more tools, better tools, and grow the ecosystem, the Super Creative ecosystem. Um, and so yeah, my challenges right now are trying to like zoom back a bit, and then invest in the right talent, find the resources to hire these awesome people to collaborate with, and then keep on like getting like setting a very high bar for quality of tools that we create, even though there'll be more to work on these tools.
And what's the best way for people to follow Super Creative? Is that the Twitter?
Yeah, so there's the Twitter, there's the YouTube, there's the on the website supercreative.design. You can also put your email to get a quarterly update. Um, and yeah, basically now I've just reduced my newsletters uh, from monthly, or even at some point it was weekly to monthly, and now it's quarterly. Every quarter I send an email with all the things we built, all the things we and that's the rhythm now. Yeah,
Now, let me ask a question. You answered this earlier in the context of design,
yeah,
and the question earlier was, how do you decide what to design? And I'm going to kind of remix that question to, how do you decide what to build next? I know at Finsweet, we've had
yeah,
strategies of building many different tools and many different campaigns and many different
yeah.
clonables. Some of them we continue with, some of them we stop. So, what's your process for figuring out what to do in your creative space?
Actually, before I answer, I would actually love to hear how you do it. I don't know if you want to be open about it, Joe, but uh, how you
Sure.
decide what to design in FinSuite. I mean, I've seen. It seems like you release so many things so fast. It's very impressive. So I'd love to know.
Well, I'll answer not what to design, I'll answer what to build.
Yeah,
I'll answer in that context. So, it's a combination of something that is needed, that we need as an agency,
yeah,
and being really cool. It's gotta be cool. If it's not
yeah,
cool, it's just it
yeah.
gets canceled. So, I'll start with I think the more important one, the functional side of it.
Okay.
Our products and community stuff comes from our needs as an agency. Our agency is essentially an active research and development team for anything that we do on the product side. And that's from the beginning of our product journey. Everything from our first project, Finsweet Hacks, to the CMS library, to attributes, to client first. It's all based on what the needs of our agency are. Because we know if our agency has these needs, other people have the needs, or they will have those needs in the future. So, very functional. It's very clear what we should be
Mm,
building because our clients tell us what they need, our team tells us what they need, and then we go ahead and execute on that.
mm.
And then, number two, the cool aspect. There are some things that we just build because it's cool. For example, we did a campaign with Weglot about 3D globes.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember this one.
we didn't really need that. Nobody's really asked us for that. But we had this cool idea. We proposed it to Weglot. They thought it was cool. And we said, it's cool. Let's just do it. And now maybe every quarter we're implementing one of these globes on our client site. So not necessarily functional, but just cool and fun. And
Mm,
yeah. So if you can do functional and cool at the same time, super win. But if it's
it's
one or the other, that's okay.
yeah,
So that's how I approach that.
well, yeah. For me, I think yeah. Based on what I said earlier, um, I guess it's also based on my needs, on my mom's needs, um, and then like what to design next. There's always designing the product, designing the landing page, whatever marketing experience you have before the product, but you can also design whatever comes after using the product. So designing the emails, the success, um, and you realize that basically the whole experience has to be designed, and it's a lot of pieces when you're just one, two, three people, um, but eventually you get the right habits. You know, oh, okay, I forgot to design it. Okay, the empty screen page. Okay, then you forget to design the whole success forgot password email, and then so I guess you start with the product, um, and then you sort of design the whole experience so that it flows in a nice way. Um, and the more time you have, I mean, at some point it becomes just a matter of constraints. You have a limited amount of time, limited amount of resources, so you have to look at the whole experience and decide, okay, this is going to be key, this is going to be key. The rest we're going to put templates or not even design, and move on, because otherwise you can just design an experience for 10 years if you wanted to. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I see that as focusing on the most important thing based on your amount of resources. If you have unlimited resources, you can do whatever you want whenever you want.
Yeah.
But nobody has unlimited resources.
Yeah.
So we have to say, based on these, what can we do? What can we execute?
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing with Instaprice, right? You
Yeah.
see a need for it.
Okay.
You know that you need it. Other people need it. You've heard about it, and
Yeah.
you're executing.
We here I decided to design a really good product, a really good landing page, a nice email sequence for when people purchase the tool, and uh, I'm finishing a trailer, a video trailer for the tool, and that will be it. I mean, for those 3 months, I don't have more time than this, but hopefully we can go back to it later and like, make all the other pieces better. But I think it's a good starting point. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so we have 4 minutes left. And with that, we will ask how the community can help you.
Hmm.
Now, we've been sharing links throughout the entire show. So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of links, but
Yeah.
all of them are in the description of this video. So if you're interested in checking some of these tools out, please go in the description, check out Ben's links. But Ben, you asking the community, what can the community do for you?
That's very nice. Well, my my current concern is making Instaprice as good as possible. So trying out Instaprice and getting a feel for it, and trying to spot what's confusing, boring, missing. All of that is valuable information that I'd want to hear. Um, and so that's one thing. Like Instaprice, is it useful for you? How can we make it better? The second thing is, I mean, my goal is really to make really good, iconic tools for creative professionals. So, is there anything that you have a frustration with recently? The legal parts of like freelancing, the fact that uh, you'd like to find more clients, the fact that all of these things I'm trying to understand them so well, so that if I make a product for them, uh, they'll be really answering a problem. It's not like a fantasy, it's a real solution. And that's often hard to do. So the more conversations I have with people who are my target audience, which probably are the listeners right now, um, the better my problem spotting skills become.
Nice. Love that. I just shared Ben's Twitter in the comments. So if you want to talk, if you want to tweet something, hey, Ben, check this out. I got this idea for you. Here's a DM, whatever.
Please do it.
That's what you should be doing.
Yeah, would love that.
Mika, thank you. Nice hearing your story. I'll send that link on LinkedIn. Have a good one. Thank you. Okay, so with 1 minute left, we will start to close down this episode. Before we close down, two announcements. Number one, the Speed Build Challenge, Webflow Conf. I have just shared this in the chat. Nelson is running this. Nelson has asked all of us to get the community involved, get people on this Speed Build Challenge. Please go ahead and do that if you're thinking about it. These types of experiences are really cool. They're hard to jump into, but it's really cool when you get there. So please go ahead and check out that link. And then the final one is tomorrow. We will be covering the Webflow CMS API tomorrow with Alex Iglesias. So if you're interested in how to write some code to talk to Webflow CMS API, we will be there doing it. So, Ben, thank you so much for being on this community day. I had
Yeah,
a great
thank you
time
for
talking
having
to
me.
you.
Yeah,
Really
me
great
too.
insights.
It
Awesome.
was really good. Thank you for
Are there
what
any
you're doing
final
to well,
Yeah,
yeah, thank you for
please.
like what you're doing for all the Webflow community. You're just setting the bar very high for all agencies, and it's very inspiring. So yeah, I guess I need to thank you
Thank you, Ben.
deeply.
I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
I'll get right back and say thank you for pushing products and tools and things that people can be inspired by, because I know people probably see your tools and say, "Ooh, maybe I should try that idea I was thinking about." Or this is inspiring me to think of fun tools and clonables and community engagement in a different way. So, big thanks to you. Are there any final words that you want to give to the audience before we sign off today?
Thank you for being here and all your nice questions. And hope to see you on the internet.
Oh, yeah, we will be seeing each other. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. This is the end of this episode, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 Eastern.